All right, let's talk about something truly special in the Salesforce world, the legendary Golden Hoodie. Those who are not familiar with Golden Hoodie tradition might be thinking, is this some kind of VIP club for hoodie enthusiasts? Not exactly. The Golden Hoodie is a rare and important honor given to trailblazers who are out there doing well by doing good. Those are the people who not only grow in their careers, but also lift others along the way. It's not an official title like Salesforce MVP or Tableau Visionary or Ambassador. It's a special recognition from the Salesforce. It all started in 2014 when a Salesforce admin shared her inspiring story at Dreamforce, and the audience loved it. Over the years, the recognition evolved, honoring individuals from all backgrounds, whether they were switching careers, skilling up, or making a significant impact in the community. But here is the fun part. It is not an award you can apply for or win by passing an exam. No, there is no formula. Salesforce keeps an eye on the community, looking for those who share their knowledge, support others, or have a true spirit of a trailblazer. And when they find them, bam, golden hoodie moment. Now, let's be honest. While the hoodie itself is super cool, it's not really about the swag. It's about the stories, the inspiration, and the message behind it that everyone in this ecosystem has the power to make the difference. And now let's dive into the stories behind the hoodies. Some great insights ahead. Our guests will share what this recognition truly means and why community support and groups play such a key role. We'll hear about three very different journeys, each leading to a successful career. We will also pick up valuable tips, not just for the Salesforce world, but also for making most of your dreaming. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We'll answer them at the end of the session. Hosting this discussion is Nina Yachna, Senior Solution Engineer at Salesforce. Nina, over to you.
Thank you very much, Maya. Thank you for this really great introduction. I couldn't have said it better. As said, I'm a senior solution engineer. I work in pre-sales at Salesforce. And it's my great pleasure to be here with you today, hosting this Golden Hoodie panel. Thank you very much, Andrea, Maya, and the team for inviting me and for letting me bring to you some of the journeys and the experiences of our very special guests today. Pallavi, Hussam, and Paul. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I am not, then do let me know. And I think without further ado, since we have a lot of interesting topics to go through, I would like to ask my special guests to say a little bit about their current role and what was their journey in the Salesforce ecosystem, in the Salesforce world so far. Maybe the ladies first. So Pallavi, can I hand it over to you?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Pallavi Agarwal, and I am the CEO and founder of Candor Consult. That's really how my journey started inside Salesforce. About end of 2016 is when I joined the Salesforce ecosystem as a senior manager at a consulting firm, to then shortly after, within a year and a half, starting my own consulting firm, Candor, in 2018.
Thank you very much. Hussam, how about you? I saw in your, let's say, history, your track record that you went from being a Java developer to then becoming Salesforce MVP. How does all of that happen?
Yeah. So hello everyone. So thank you so much for being here. So my name is Hussam Saoudi, and I began my professional careers first as a Java developer in my home country in Morocco. But after more than 3 years developing by Java, my journey took an unexpected turn in 2014. So an agency in Casablanca, newly adopted Salesforce, approached me and contacted me and offered me a job opportunity to work with Salesforce. So I never heard before about Salesforce because Salesforce wasn't very developed at that moment in Morocco. But I did some research on internet and I saw it's something working really good in United States and in Europe. And then I accepted the challenge. I wanted to be one of the first people working with Salesforce in my region. After that, I became a very first Salesforce MVP in Africa, also Salesforce Golden Hoodie, leading also another conference called North Africa Dreamin in Morocco.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is how my story started with Salesforce.
Very, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that, and congratulations on the great achievement, the first MVP title in Africa. I
Thank
see that Salesforce now is growing a lot in many different parts of Africa, which I think is quite exciting. And to finish off the introductions, Paul, I would want to ask you as well. I saw that as recently as December last year, you have been a Salesforce developer for 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. How did your journey look like?
Um, yeah, so good morning, everyone. Really pleased to be here, obviously. I came into the Salesforce ecosystem back in 2011. I was previously working in IT, and a friend asked me to help him out, and like over a weekend because he was too busy. And he said at the end of the weekend, "How much do I owe you?" And I said, "Oh, don't worry, I'm just enjoying working with this platform so much. Just give me some more work." And so that's how I entered it. And since then, I've been a Salesforce consultant for nonprofit and small businesses. Um, and last year, and that's mainly been my journey. At the very end of last year, beginning this year, I actually became an ADHD coach, and there is
Mhm.
very much a connection through my Salesforce group. I have a sneaking suspicion you might ask me a question about that later.
There might be a question on that, so let's keep the audience waiting for a little bit longer. But thank you so much. Very nice to have you all in here. I would like to kind of dig a bit deeper into the meaning of what the Golden Hoodie is about. Maya already, I think, gave a very good introduction of this recognition. But what I'm curious about is kind of the impact that it has had on some of your lives. And I think, Hussam, you might be the person to bring up on stage now. And here, I mean professional impact, but also personal impact is absolutely fine. At the YeurDreamin, for instance, we discussed, whether you need to make some adjustments when you do your washing, when you have a golden hoodie now in your wardrobe. So any influence that this recognition has had on you?
Yeah, of course. So the Golden Hoodie has had both professional and personal impacts on my life. Let's start by professional. So professionally, it's opened doors to deeper engagement with Salesforce community. So it's bring me to be more visible, to share my knowledge with the community, to participate also in some Salesforce events, some community events like this call today. So I'm very humbled and I'm happy to be here. It's also so this is how professionally Golden Hoodie helped me, but personally, this reorganization is also very important because it serves as a reminder that my contribution, big or small, are very important and matter. And also, it's like a message when I wear this golden hoodie. It's like I'm sending a message to all people that please share your knowledge, take care of your community because all things that you are doing has an impact. And yes, having a golden hoodie, it's something good to have. And also other things that changed my life personally. It's I need to watch and to be careful how I need to watch my golden hoodie because this is a special this is a special golden hoodie and I need to be careful about watching this golden hoodie.
Mhm.
um, Other thing personally, when I wear this golden hoodie and at any Salesforce events, people can come and say to me hi and start the conversation with me. without any problem, because they know I'm a Salesforce Golden Hoodie, and they can come to take pictures with me, saying that, oh, nice, you have a nice jacket. Can I touch your jacket, please? So this is something also very nice personally. Yeah. So this is my
Sounds
experience.
yeah, sounds like a very interesting experience, and I can really see how people would be very attracted in your hoodie and wanting to come to you and speak to you. But it's also a nice kind of way of showing that you're open to that and you're open to that contact. You mentioned the community and being able to really be a part of that and kind of support the community around. One of the biggest topics I try to do myself outside of my official work and my role at Salesforce is that I really try to support the local trailblazer communities. For me, it's mostly in Central Eastern Europe because that's kind of the region I mostly work with. I'm originally from Poland as well, but these community groups are all around the world. And here, Paul, I wanted to ask you about those communities. I know that you have been and you are heavily involved. You are, for instance, a co-leader of the Amsterdam user group. You were also a founder, one of the founders of the nonprofit Dreamin. Is there anything that you particularly enjoy about them, or you think something that's very valuable about them?
Um, Thank you. I mean, just hearing the question, it. The community group network is just a huge part of my life, and it's actually quite hard to say what I enjoy most about community groups because there's so much to it. So what I'm going to think about, what I want to do, is just start with explaining how I got involved, because I think that puts a lot of context to it. When I went to my first admin group back in 2014 in London, my fellow panelists may not, and certainly the organisers may not realise it, but I was shy and socially awkward. There I found a safe and welcoming place where I could be myself and express my love for all things geeky, and also practice my social skills with a group of people who are warm, welcoming, and non-judgmental. This really helped unlock parts of me which were hidden away and gave me a chance to breathe. Fast forward to 2017, and I arrived in Amsterdam. So together with Andre van Kampen, who's many of you know, who's one of the organisers of today's event, Sergey Ehrlich, who's now working at Salesforce, and another, we started the official Amsterdam user group. And it was all unpaid and, quite frankly, time intensive, but the rewards have been immense. On a personal level, to create a Dutch version of that safe, welcoming space, and to pay it for that others have created for me, and to pay it forward, it's been amazing. Like, words can't express. But also when I see user group attendees who are my friends, I mean, it's not just the people, they really are my friends, and so I guess that's an obvious benefit. I have moved now to Glasgow, to Scotland, but I track their progress on LinkedIn. I log on, and I know I've played my little part. So hopefully they're aware too of how much they've helped me. Now, on a professional level, I'm now reasonable at many logistical things, which I wouldn't have had an opportunity to do otherwise. Whereas organising something for 10 people used to stress me out, it has to be at least 80 people now before there's any hint of a stress. And also I can spot a painful presentation at 100 paces and just help the person who's doing that presentation in the same way that I've been helped. But most of all, I think it'll be clear it's the people. As well as mentoring, you're always learning from the mentees. I've met trailblazers and been to places and had experience that I would never have had otherwise. So just very quickly, just a couple of examples. Whether it's being on the Salesforce boat during Amsterdam Pride, which my t-shirt, which I'm very happy about, visiting a new friend in Bulgaria, and I didn't like traveling, to present at their user group, or doing a litter pick on the canal after YeurDreamin. It's both been fun and enriching mentally. So I've never volunteered to benefit, but I find I always benefit so much.
Thank you so much. I think it's a very inspiring example of just in how many ways the trailblazer communities have a huge impact. I personally also experienced the same, even without being a member and joining every single time, but visiting the different community groups and meetups from time to time. I absolutely agree. And your presentation skills seem to be very, very good now. You're very confident. So I think it's just one of the ways in which it really, really shows how we can also upskill by joining these groups, not only in Salesforce, maybe knowledge, solutions, technology, but also on many different levels and many different areas. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. I would like to talk a little bit about risk taking, because maybe going into a community meetup is not too much of a risk, although for some people it might be. But I think an example of a very big risk that was taken here, at least from my perspective, is what you, Pallavi, did when you created your own cloud transformation consulting firm, the one you're working at, you're leading now. I wanted to ask you, what made you take this big and potentially risky step and become a business owner?
Yeah, and you'll hear definitely more about it in the keynote as well, with the real journey of what it took. But you know, it was a risk, but it wasn't a risk, was the best way to put it. The best advice I had when I was starting Candor was, what do you have to lose? And I thought about it, and I really sat there. I was in a friend's office, a family friend, and he was like, what do you have to lose? Why don't you start this firm? You've been talking about wanting to start your own business for years. And I was like, time and money. That was my risk at the time, right? And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, actually, time isn't a risk at all, because I'm going to learn. Even if I fail at this, I'm going to learn something. So time will never be lost. And with money, money is just something that comes and goes in life. You can't ever guarantee having money, right? I've been through multiple scenarios in my life where I had great jobs, I had good disposable income, to I'm living dollar to dollar because I decided to go back to school or whatever, and circumstances change. So in that regard, I was like, I guess there really isn't that much of a risk. And what's the worst that can happen? What's my plan B? My plan B is I just go back to the industry and get a job. So it didn't seem like a big risk. But even it was a very big risk. It still is 7 years later. But I think one of that conversation really helped me jump in with both feet and say, okay, I can do this. I can commit myself to try starting a company for at least a year and just see how it works out. And I put some goals together for that year, and I exceeded those goals. So then I was like, okay, I actually did this. Holy crap. Like, I was very, very surprised at myself. And then I was like, I got to stick to it for another 2 years. And we hit our 3 year mark, and we were still going, doing well. And through it, we survived the pandemic. And I was like, okay, if I can survive something as big as the pandemic and still be around as this tiny little company that I just started, then it should be okay. And so after that 3 year mark, surviving through the pandemic, I just never looked back. And I think one of the biggest success factors for me at Candor is not me, actually. It's our beautiful team. It is the dedicated team that we have today that believes in Candor, that believes in the work that we do, and really, really takes the passion and the culture of Candor and exuberates it with our client delivery.
Mm-hmm. It seems like you created a sort of a community on your own then within Cantor. I really like what you said, and I think for many people, kind of taking a step back and looking at it, that it's not a huge risk, that maybe you can always go back, or you can, go back to how you're doing things now, more or less, is always an option. So there's really not much that you can lose. I think this is a very important lesson for anyone wondering if there's another path they should give a try, basically.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And yes, I hope as many of you as possible who are here today will be able to make it to the keynote. I'm really looking forward to that. Paul, I saw that you also, and you mentioned that already, took a big transformational step as well, and not in terms of creating your own consulting firm, but you did change your role completely, and you became an ADHD coach. Can you tell me what that Salesforce connection is?
Yeah, really happy to do so because I regard it part of my, not particularly modestly, but I regard it part of an incredible journey because I've had that experience. So I've been keen and been able to articulate that I love enabling others and unlocking potential. I've been doing that for some time. It's often been for my Salesforce clients when working as a consultant at various organizations. It turns out that the clients I work for, time and time again, would be highly intelligent but easily distracted. What I didn't realize was that this is a very common ADHD trait. My clients had chosen me because even during the initial meetings, we worked well together. I could understand them and instinctively knew the appropriate workarounds to gently pull them back on track if there was a distraction. But also, I didn't go through things in a particularly sequential order. I forewarned my client after a while. I forewarned my clients of this, and they didn't mind because they knew that I would cover the work, just not necessarily in the order that they expected. And I now know that this is part of my own ADHD. It's got its advantages, and it means that I often challenge conventional wisdom and offer a different viewpoint, which can be factored into whichever project that I'm working on. So sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, well, we've heard and actually we want to do this, and that's fine. That's all part of the conversation. Yeah, as I said, gives them things that they wouldn't have otherwise thought of. Anyway, so the technology platform is also absolutely fantastic. And it really offers a deep dive. It delivers results quickly, and that's great for neurodivergent types. So a working environment, which could have actually been part of the problem, has been part of the solution for me. So that's how I was. And due to some sleeping issues, I went on a health investigation, which led to my ADHD diagnosis back in 2021. And I also got an autism diagnosis thrown in for free. And I wasn't really expecting both, but you get the diagnosis, you go on a journey, and then you learn more about it. In hindsight, it's obvious, but thanks, that's hindsight. So right now, I want to pay it forward, as well as have a good career. So it turns out that listening as a consultant and helping people take a pause from their daily activities to work out what's best for the future is a surprisingly transferable skill. So I wanted to become more involved in the ADHD ecosystem. So being an ADHD coach seems the best of both worlds for me. And given my interactions, it possibly comes as no surprise. But it now comes as no surprise that many of my clients are from the Salesforce ecosystem. So I've managed to link the two. And also because I've had these wonderful opportunities, I'm very happy to, and I want to explain about ADHD because it's like the science around it is all changing. It used to be thought that you could have ADHD but not autism, and now you can have both. And like so few studies have been done on women, like a terribly few amounts. So it's just a good excuse and opportunity to explain what's going on to people. And so I'll always take any opportunity to do that.
Thank you very much for sharing that, for kind of opening up with us as well about your journey. It's a very fascinating one. And I encourage everyone who's here, who's in this panel, watching it now or rewatching later, to also check out what Paul is doing. And if you have any questions, I'm sure he will open to answer.
If I may cheekily say, absolutely. So I blog about ADHD and Salesforce. Before I realized that I had ADHD, there's a whole series of blogs saying, here are reasonable accommodations if you struggle with learning, if you struggle with taking exams, if you struggle with social interactions. And kind of my journey's been documented. So on my website, naturallypaul.com, you can see those. And I'm really happy to answer any questions that anyone has. It's part of that joy of the community that everyone just helps each other out, and I've bought into that, so that still continues very much. Thank you, Nina.
Perfect, of course. A question for you, Hussam. Sorry that you've been kept a bit quiet for a longer time. I'm very curious about Morocco. I have some colleagues from Morocco who are working for instance, towards female empowerment in the country. You're here today among all of us, the only one from Morocco, and I see you're quite engaged in your home country as well. Can you explain a little bit what you do there and why do you think it's important to encourage new investment and encourage activity?
Yeah, so as the only Salesforce MVP from Morocco, I feel like a strong responsibility to actively encourage investments in Morocco for several reasons. First one, economic growth. So Morocco or the African continent in general has a lot of untapped potential, especially in the field of technology and innovation. By encouraging investments, I believe that we can create more job opportunities for young people and also help to grow our economy. But also because we have talent. In Morocco, we speak several languages: Arabic, French, English, and a little bit of Spanish. And we have a growing pool of talent, especially in tech and engineering. And by attracting investments, we can give this talented individual more opportunities and also give our customers some resources that can help them to grow. But also because for me, I have a personal reason. By encouraging investors to come to Morocco to invest in, let's say, in my region in general, North Africa or Africa, it's something very important because I wanted to be. It's not like bringing money, bringing capital. It's something more related by created history. So one day when everything will be very, very, let's say, more, when we will have more customers here in Morocco or in Africa, one of the reasons will be me because I encouraged investors to come and invest. And I can feel this in Morocco because we today we have many local customers buying Salesforce, working with Salesforce. It's something today it grow, and I can notice this also in my community events, North Africa Dreaming. So each year we receive more people, we receive more, let's say, companies. So, and this is also something that encouraged me to continue and encourage companies and people to use Salesforce as a field. So this is why I'm motivated also to stay here in Morocco. To give an example,
Mhm.
yeah, and I know that I can influence some people, and for this reason, I'm seeing here in Morocco, even if I received more interested opportunities outside in Europe or in United States, but I prefer to stay here in Morocco because I can do what I am doing here, from Casablanca, and also to help my country, my region to grow also. So this is the reason why.
Mhm. Thank you very much. I think it's very, very inspiring, and I see a similar kind of wish or hope from some of my friends also in the ecosystem working in countries which are maybe still on the development path, or at least in terms of digital transformation maturity. Some places where there are a lot of companies that can still really benefit from solutions like Salesforce. So fingers crossed, and best of luck for your efforts. And talking about Salesforce and kind of making it, using it to the best, in the best possible way. Pallavi, I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, you say that one of the goals that you have is to help organizations unleash the full potential of Salesforce. And here I wanted to ask, why do you believe that's needed, and how are you kind of approaching this goal? How are you trying to achieve it?
Yeah, I can definitely answer that. But before I do, I just want to shout out for Morocco again because I went to North Africa Dreaming, gosh, Hassan, what was it, like 2, 3 years ago? And such a beautiful country. And North Africa Dreaming, the event itself was amazing. I highly encourage everybody to go to. I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm just telling you it was a great time. And it's a beautiful country. I was very, very well surprised by it. But talking about transformation and unleashing the potential, right? Of Salesforce, that was part of the reason I started Candor. I've been doing consulting for, I'm going to date myself, like over 20 years now. And, we, at times we get lost in building the solution, versus why we're building the solution and what it's really intended for. And that's really what it's about with unlocking and unleashing the potential. We also don't always pause and take a step back to think about what the solution that we're building, how does this support overall business? What is the long-term goals? And so when we're helping customers, we're coming in to solve problem A. But there's probably problem B, C, and D, but they don't even know it's a problem yet because the technology is new to them. They don't know what they don't know. So it's partly our responsibility as consultants to also guide them through that journey, to show them the art of the possible through these wonderful products that Salesforce has, right? To really, really help them figure out, how do we take this one problem and solve for it, but really uncover all the things that are possible and potentially solve for 100 other problems that they hadn't identified yet because they didn't even know what they didn't know was possible with Salesforce. And when you give them that, that's really unlocking and unleashing the potential. And that's when Salesforce as a tool becomes really powerful for an organization to really think through, I can not only do this, but I didn't even know I could do this, this, and this on top of it. And it really elevates their game and puts them in a more competitive edge in their industry, right? And that's what Salesforce is really about. And that's why, like, given all the products I've worked on in my life, Salesforce was the product we chose to focus on as a company, right? I get asked that question a lot. Why Salesforce, Pallavi? You've done SAP, you've done AWS, you've done PeopleSoft Financials, you've done custom Java. Like, why did you pick Salesforce? And it is because Salesforce is a product that has versatility and can really, really have art of the possible. I don't think, with all of us listening in, watching, tuning in, I'm sure other panelists, like, I don't think there's a problem we can't solve inside of Salesforce, right? Like, if they're like, can we do this? The answer is always yes. It is possible. It might require some customization. That might not be out of the box, but it's possible. And that's really what we're talking about when we talk about unleashing the potential and really doing digital transformation versus technology implementation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. I think it's very true. And what's interesting as well is that oftentimes, on one hand, it's about understanding what your own challenges are as organization, but on the other hand, also being aware of what Salesforce is capable of and kind of which areas can Salesforce tackle. Because I still sometimes meet organizations that think, okay, Salesforce, that's only sales. For anything else, we have to look somewhere else. And on the other hand, also the fact, for instance, there's App Exchange, right? So it's not only Salesforce, even though that's already a lot, it's also partner solutions or anything anyone just decides to kind of add on top and make available to others. So I fully agree. I think it's both that needs to come together, and a company like yours definitely helps to make that happen. So best of luck for your coming projects. And now, before we actually go and see if there's any questions from the audience, I have one last question for each of you, maybe starting with Paul. For anyone who's here on the call, what would your advice be, or like a single tip on how to make the most out of today at YeurDreamin, or any other Dreaming conference that's coming up this year?
There had to be a technical glitch by the end of it, so I was muted. Now I'm not muted, which is good. So I think I've got two because
that's
you
okay.
asked the one question. I've got two. For the virtual part, kind of with my neurodivergent hat on, you're not going to be able to see. There's 35 sessions going to be released very shortly. You're not going to be able to see them all today. So pick one or two that you can really get into and that call to you. Perhaps not something you already, perhaps something you want to learn more on that you're already familiar with, but also perhaps something that you're not at all familiar with to broaden. So depth versus breadth, you've got to make that consideration. And you can always come back and do the others later. And if you don't, that's also fine because it's not realistic to do all 35. Sorry. But the other thing is, if you're coming to the in-person segment later on today, chat to people. When you chat to some people that you really want to chat to, but also some random people, because you never know what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years' time. So you have to put in the seeds today, and when you have that second and third and fourth conversation, then it all becomes amazing. I could go on about that, but like the people that I didn't remember the names of, like for 4 or 5 times, I was quite well known for not knowing people's names, eventually became my user group co-leaders because they were so bloody awesome. So yeah, you just never know where these things are going to lead, basically. So that kind of an open mindset is just leads to rewards, and also whoever you chat to, everyone's come for similar reasons, so you're going to have a good conversation with everyone. Yeah, and
Thanks a
thank you,
lot.
Nina, as well for hosting and asking
Of
these lovely
course.
questions.
Thank you. Hussam, over to you. Any
Yeah.
tips?
Yeah, well, I can add that you need to set a goal. Why you are here? Are you here to learn more about Salesforce? Are you here to network, or are you here to hire people? Because this is also something important for some companies. Plan your schedule. So review the agenda. Plan your schedule in advance. Choose and pick 1 or 2 or 3 sessions, and you can watch others later. Network, so identify key people that you want to reach out to them, so you can reach out to them. If you are in Amsterdam, go after the virtual part to in-person part. I think it will start at 4 p.m. So if you are in Benelux region or Amsterdam, please go to in-person events also. Use social media. So don't hesitate to post about YeurDreamin event, about today, about this conference. You can use the hashtag YeurDreamin25 because this is also something very important. Take a note and also follow up. So after the conference, you can reach out to people and talk about with them. So this is some advice that I'm giving to people.
Thank you so much. And thank you for today for your participation as well. And then Pallavi, anything that you would add?
Network, network, network. I started in the ecosystem not even knowing about this beautiful community. And I remember how nervous I used to be when I got there and shy, believe it or not. No one would believe I'm shy today, but like I used to be very shy. And because I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't understand the community. I was still navigating, trying to figure out where I fit in. And it's okay. Ask for help. Tell people why you're there, right? Like as mentioned, set your goal or your intention, follow up, take notes, go to sessions, learn, but also network in a way where it's authentic to you. And be authentic. This community has been, I mean, I've been around for a while and like this is probably the safest community to be yourself in. It's been a very welcoming, uplifting, judgment-free zone, very accepting. And I would say who I am today is 99% because of the community and how much support I got when I joined the community and where I am today because of the community. So as you also grow in that community, give back, because I still meet people who were like me when I joined the community back in 2018. And it's just a blessing to be part of this community. So don't be shy.
Thank you so much. I think it's a beautiful way to kind of almost finish. Let's see if there's any questions, but to kind of just reflect on how strong, how big the power of the community is, of the Trailblazer community we have, of the groups, of community events like this one, like YeurDreamin, and just how much impact the words and advice you shared today can have. At least on me, I'm already very inspired. So I'm sure some members of our audience are as well. I see Andrea joined. Hi, Andrea.
Hi. Yeah, we do have a few questions. Well, funny thing is we have a lot of, how do you say that, comments. I will show the comments first, and then we'll end with the questions. It's actually really good to see. For instance, there's this one about North Africa dreaming. Then also keep it up. Now one for Paul. And I like this one. So yeah, always good to hear this type of comment. Actually, about North Africa dreaming. Again, let's all hope we can let's all go to North Africa dreaming. And okay, one more about North Africa dreaming. But also, let's see. So Pallavi, very shy. And just about your company name.
That's a very nice one.
I think this really fits well also with the community and the conversations we've been having here. Now, sorry. And there's this one more general about the Trailblazer Community Groups program, and indeed the Golden Hoodie program is one of them. Thank you, Renee. Then a question. Sorry, I'm just looking through the list of comments too. Before we, no, sorry, this one first. I think this is a really good one. Of course, continues on to what you were saying. For anyone joining a community conference or even a Salesforce conference or user group, if you want to meet people but you don't know how, or you're too scared, or you're having panic attack, or anything along those lines, walk up to one of the organizers or an MVP or Golden Hoodie or anyone like that. They will first calm you down, and then if you're ready for it, get you in contact with other people.
I think that's also a very nice one for people who tend to kind of stick with their own. If you come with someone to the meetup, I think that's the strategy you can kind of default to, and it's comfortable. But also from my experience, something I'm working on is to kind of try and go and talk to someone I really don't know, and it usually goes well, or it always goes well.
Now, it's a long one. I'll let you read it first. So, of course, events like this, you definitely need sponsors. And also, I'm not sure if you want to answer this now, but definitely get in touch, of course, with each other.
Yeah, I can answer this. So my first advice, focus more about local sponsors. This is my advice. Local sponsors.
All right. And indeed, local sponsors, local events, local communities. And talk about local. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, but Pallavi, is it 5 a.m. where you are, just to show commitment to the community?
4:53, and I'm not a morning person, so I really love you guys. That's why I'm here.
Thank you. That's that was all the comments for now, unless I missed one. No, that was all for the comments. Thank you.
Perfect. In that case, I think unless any one of you still wants to add something, I think we're right on time. So thank you very, very much again for your openness, for your tips, for sharing your journeys, and for kind of the future, willingness to connect, to talk with anyone who's there in those events, trying to learn more, trying to get some advice, or just connect and network, which we learned is a very important thing to do at community events. So thank you very much. And I hope every one of you also tuning in online will enjoy your day today. and learn as much as possible.